Hi, I'm Toby, and today I'm going to show you how to do the flight sim here in the Tech Playground.
Yep.
Now that you've launched X-Plane on the flight sim here in the Tech Playground, you're going to choose KSWO, that's the Stillwater Regional Airport. And for beginners, I suggest using the Cessna 172 SP plane. Make sure the two checkboxes are checked for using real weather and track real date and time. And you're going to click fly with these conditions. Getting set up here with the flight simulator, you're going to make sure your feet are in the pedals with your heels at the very bottom of the pedals. Now those pedals do two things. They pivot forward. Those are your brakes while you're on the ground. Your heels move backwards and forwards. That changes the rudder on the back of the plane to indicate which way the nose goes of your airplane. And it also directs the nose wheel when you're on the ground. So that's how you steer when you're taxiing down the runway to take off. If you want the nose wheel to go right, you go right heel forward. To go left, left heel forward. In a moment, when the plane HUD pops up, when the cockpit view shows up, we're going to increase our throttle here, which is the far left knob on the top of the flight sim. And you don't really need to put your hands on the yoke or the stick until you get about halfway down the runway. So indicated here on the screen of the cockpit, you want about 60 to 70 knots airspeed before you gently pull back on the stick to take flight. So I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit, and we're going to go through those procedures. I'm pivoting my feet forward now for the brakes, and I'm going to throttle about 75–80% up and then release the brakes. So now remember, you're steering with your feet. Sometimes we can use flaps. If you want to use flaps, they're the outside button here to help you take off. And don't worry about other aircraft in the game. They're not a problem. You can run right through them. It's just a flight sim. Also, don't worry about the deer. You'll see we're up to 80 knots now, so I'm going to pull gently back on the stick, and we're airborne. If you did take off from here in Stillwater, you can effect a slow turn to the left, an easy banking to the left, and you'll notice that there's Boomer Lake, right out in front of the plane. A few other things you need to know when you're flying. You want the horizontal indicator here, you want that orange triangle about on the white line for steady horizontal flight, for vertical flight. If you're climbing, you have a climb indicator here, and you have a turn indicator here. So you want your wingtips to stay within those two hashes on the turn indicator. The other thing, if you want to turn right, you simply bank right hand down. If you want to bank left hand down. If I move my right heel forward, that moves the nose of the plane to the right and moves it to the left. If you move the left heel forward. You can throttle back a little bit once you're airborne up to. So I've throttled back to about 30% of throttle, and I've effected my last turn to come in for landing. So I noticed there's the runway, and you don't want to head straight for the runway, but instead you want to fly straight and narrow for a while, and then you can turn into your final approach. So if you want, you can lower your flaps one setting, and that's done by clicking that button down there on the right side of the yoke. And before you start to stall, you can come in. Now this is where you start making a lot of small adjustments. So I'm going here, but the runway's over there, so I'm going to crab it just a little bit by pushing my right heel forward. And that's bringing the nose around, and then I'll just straighten it back out to line up here perfectly with the runway. A lot of small adjustments, up stick, down stick. I might be going a little bit long on this landing, but this is pretty close. Aim for the bite marks, it's about the right place. And we're down. And if you'll remember from when you were on the ground the last time, you just simply pivot your feet forward to brake the aircraft. And then you can effect a turn onto a back onto the tarmac, back onto the ramp. And that's how you take off and land in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm sorry, that's how you take off and land in X-Plane 11.
Go.
Another couple of things you can do: hit P on the keyboard to pause the flight sim. Move your mouse up using the trackpad to the top of the screen, and you'll get the menus that show up. If you want to choose a different aircraft, click Aircraft, open Aircraft, and after you've flown the Cessna 172, I suggest flying the Cirrus, the jet, or moving on to another plane. But this one is a lot of fun to fly. The King Air also is a fun plane to fly when you're first starting out. But so many people like to go right to the fighters, so definitely you can go fly the F-22, which is a lot of fun, or the big jets under heavy metal. So just wanted to throw that out there too, that some of these planes are a lot of fun to fly, and that's how you go and change those. If you want to change your location, you simply click back on location and select global airport. And remember, if you're using real time, it will take you to that location in real time. So if you choose Tokyo right now, it will be nighttime. So just one more thing, or a couple more things to check when you're playing X-Plane 10.